Kyler Murray named the Vikings starting quarterback. I think this is a mistake by the Vikings. Not that it's a mistake that he was ultimately going to be QB1, because I feel like that was inevitable. But I think this is a mistake, giving Kyler Murray the starting job before they even play a preseason game. This just goes to show you that when they signed him a couple of months ago, he was quarterback one the day they signed him. There is no competition, right? Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings dressed it up like that for what, a week and a half, 2 weeks of training camp? I mean, look, I've been following every single day from the Vikings beat of what's been going on, and it's not like JJ McCarthy has been playing terrible. Again, they've done some drills. They haven't played a preseason game yet. They've taken reps. It's mostly been Kyler Murray taking reps for the first team offense. But it's like, did JJ McCarthy lose an arm? Like, is he playing with a half of a leg, in training camp? Like, how do you reach this conclusion on August 11th? How do you not even make Kyler Murray compete and show you that he's a professional and show you that he's ready to learn from his mistakes in Arizona, where they literally had to put in his contract a clause of mandatory film study because it's the worst kept secret that a guy loves Call of Duty and he couldn't stop playing it, and it became a distraction. How do the Vikings bring this guy in, no matter what you think about JJ McCarthy, and they they literally just gift wrapped him the starting quarterback job before you even play a single preseason game? I think this is a big mistake here by Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings. Now, is it ultimately going to affect how many wins they get? I don't know. How do you quantify Kyler Murray's professionalism? How do you quantify Kyler Murray's leadership? Both of those things were questioned by the Cardinals and for the world to see. And the Vikings bring him in. And again, if this happens in 2 weeks, okay, assuming he plays okay in the preseason games, assuming he's building good rapport with Justin Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson and everybody else, okay. But I think there's a big bridge that they just leapt over here by giving him this starting job without even earning it. In my opinion, he hasn't earned it. They've just given it to him. And for a guy that's got questionable leadership and professionalism, I think this was the worst thing the Vikings could have done.
All right, here's the argument. I think JJ McCarthy royally sucks. Period, end of story. I mean, we've seen, I know it's been a brief NFL career for him, but outside maybe a couple of quarters against my Chicago Bears of all teams early on in the season last year, he's been rubbish, man. Rubbish! And the numbers really bear that out. He was number 37 last season in adjusted completion percentage, and he was outside the top 30 in other key completion percentage categories. Deep ball completion percentage, red zone completion percentage, under pressure completion percentage, even clean pocket completion percentage. When he had no pressure at all, he could not spin spirals accurately. I don't know, one of the best God-given talents in the National Football League. And a ruined season for Justin Jefferson, not to mention as well, he had Jordan Addison at his disposal a season ago. Jalen Naylor was still on that squad, and Naylor could be effectively a WR1 this year for the Las Vegas Raiders. TJ Hawkinson he had for a time a season ago. He had all kinds of weapons. He had the genius mind of Kevin O'Connell, and he can do jack nor squat across the board last season. Kyler Murray comes in. Yes, I understand he's not a guy you would pick to reach for an item on that top shelf. He is a diminutive fellow by, all measurements that are out there. But he is a proven quarterback at this level. I know he's taken a step back. I know, as you laid out, there's questions about his work ethic. But he brings a different element than JJ McCarthy does, and that is his open field abilities. A guy that runs out of the pocket and can throw, with accuracy on the run. McCarthy hasn't really shown that. And McCarthy is mobile, but Murray's got a little bit more sprint speed in the open field by comparison. And I understand you're going to say sample size, Evans. And I get it because Murray only played a handful of games last season, but he was top 5 last year in those games in adjusted completion percentage. And I think he's in a better offensive environment by comparison what he had last season in the desert with the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's a justified move. I think they just want to get this out of the way, not stir the pot, not drum up any unnecessary drama. They're giving the keys to the car to Kyler Murray, and he ain't going to drive it off the cliff, my friend. He's going to have some pretty smooth games. Yes, we'll have some rough outings that are going to be out there. It's an overall rough schedule for everybody in that division, but Murray is the better passer. JJ McCarthy is going down very quickly on a path like another high pick bust, maybe a modern day Josh Rosen. Yeah, I said it.
Oof. And look, and I'm not going to try to maybe it might sound like I'm defending JJ McCarthy even the slightest bit. Brad, last year on my old show, I said I thought JJ McCarthy wasn't going to be good. I thought it was a mistake by the Vikings to draft him. I thought he was buoyed by Jim Harbaugh and a great Michigan defense and great players around him. So I agree with you. I didn't think he was going to be that good. But okay, the kid has gone through absolute hell. 2 years ago this was. He tore his meniscus in his rookie season, so we didn't even get to see him. So last year was his second year, first year playing, and it was an absolute disaster. Remember week 1 against your Chicago Bears? He looked like he was actually going to shape out to be pretty good, and then he gets hurt in week 2, plays terrible, doesn't show up again till week 9, and he was terrible for a couple of weeks. But let's not forget what happened towards the end of that season. And you want to talk about sample size? I'll give you a small sample size here. How about the fact that the Vikings basically won out the rest of the year with JJ McCarthy starting 4 of the last 5 games? And in those last 4 games, JJ McCarthy throws for 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He threw for 250 and 2 touchdowns against Dallas. He threw for 3 touchdowns and no picks against the Washington Commanders. And yeah, he wasn't great against the Giants. And he wasn't great in the final game of the season against Green Bay. It was a meaningless game for both teams. But, and again, this is not me saying J.J. McCarthy should be in consideration to be the starting quarterback, that J.J. McCarthy should have been the starting quarterback for the Vikings. I agree. Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy. No matter how bad Kyler Murray was in the beginning of last year, before he got hurt, all the question marks you have about his leadership and whatnot. To me, though, it's just a matter of principle. It's a matter of competition. It's a matter of not enabling Kyler Murray, who it feels like, Brad, would you agree with me? He was enabled for the first 3-4 years of his career by the Arizona Cardinals, and then they literally inserted a clause into his contract that essentially said, hey, you're the quarterback and the leader of this franchise. Stop screwing around playing freaking video games when you should be studying film. So the fact that the Vikings have now a 29-year-old, just turned 29 a couple days ago, Kyler Murray come in here, you would think at the bare minimum, the way you should approach this process with the NFL, where we have I know it goes by fast, but we have so much of a ramp up every day, drills, practices, team practices, individual drills, going over film, getting accustomed to the playbook. It's a new playbook for Kyler Murray. He's never been in Kevin O'Connell's system. He's learning all of that. Don't you think at the bare minimum, you could make him compete and not just tell him, again, we've gotten promotions, you and I. What if our bosses said to us 3 months before we got hired to do this show or any other job in life? What if they told you, hey, I know there's a spot open right now for this show for BetMGM tonight. We're just going to give it to you, man. Don't worry about how you do leading up to it and trying out. We're just going to give you the show. We're going to give you this promotion. No, they would want to make you work for it and earn it and compete for it and show that you've got the qualities, to earn this position, to earn this promotion. And the Vikings, they only know Kyler Murray from his time with Arizona. And I don't think there's anybody off the top of my head in the front office that was with Arizona that can speak to Kyler Murray's leadership or know what he's like on a day-to-day basis. I would think they would want Kyler Murray to earn this. Maybe J.J. McCarthy is just that bad. And he was that bad. And I admit that 100%. And I'm not saying he should be given a second chance here and that he should be given a true consideration to start over Kyler Murray. But, man, at least make Kyler Murray earn it. Make him show you 1 preseason game, 2 preseason games, that he's got a hold of this offense and that he can still – he's still got those first couple of years when he was the Cardinals quarterback inside of him, rather than the guy we've seen over the last 2 years, which has been pretty damn mediocre. I would at least make him earn it. That's the problem I have with this.
Well, I get it, and I think you're entirely correct with the enabling that the Arizona Cardinals did with Kyler Murray in his career. But now that, he's changed locales, maybe he's turned over a new leaf. Maybe he's going to put down the controller, he's really going to focus on football and try to tap into his full potential. I will say this. Look, we're not at Minnesota Vikings training camp. We're not boots on the ground. We don't see all the idiosyncrasies that are going on even behind the scenes and the particular information that's being debated by the coaching staff. But it's pretty clear to me, because it's pretty clear to them from what they've seen in terms of Kyler Murray and his performance on the field, the preparation behind the scenes, his commitment to the game. It's just better than JJ McCarthy. It's putting him in a position to succeed immediately. And they're going to have to, because Patty, look at the opening season schedule for Minnesota. They're starting off the season with a bang. Back-to-back divisional games. In week 1, they're at home against Green Bay Packers. Week 2, they're on the road in the Windy City against my Chicago Bears. And then they follow over the next couple of weeks with better matchups, although at New Orleans could be tough in week 4, but you get the Miami Dolphins at home in Minnesota in week 3. So, they have got a minimum split, I think, to open up the first 2 games of the season against those division arch rivals. They, probably could go out and win with, a low-life quarterback, even lower than JJ McCarthy on the roster against the Miami Dolphins. Then in New Orleans, they'll be tested, and then they have the bye week after that. So, I guess the return question I have to you, and this is the ultimate question that I have, is how long is the leash exactly for Kyler Murray? Would you consider it short? Is it medium length? Or is it rather long? Pat, what would you say?
I'd say it's probably pretty long, because it feels like they have no plans of even playing JJ McCarthy. Like, they still have Carson Wentz, who did an admirable job filling in, backing up, and Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings basically forced him to go out there in that last game that Carson Wentz played last year with a broken, torn shoulder socket. And then they, because they, God forbid, they put JJ McCarthy back on the field a week early, recovering from his injury. And that's how little faith they had in Max Brosmer. So honestly, probably a long leash, because if Kyler Murray stinks and they're 0-5, like, who are they going to? I don't think they're going to JJ McCarthy. I think they're going to go to Carson Wentz. So I think he's probably got a long leash. Here's the real question. We want to hear from you. 310-840-4910. You could call, you could text. Can Kevin O'Connell resurrect Kyler Murray's career? And Brad, I think he can, because I do think pretty highly of Kevin O'Connell. I don't know if I think as highly as a lot of other folks that maybe would put Kevin O'Connell in the top 5 of the NFL head coaches right now, currently active. I don't think I would have him in there. He did a hell of a job with Sam Darnold, but then Sam Darnold went on one step better and won a freaking Super Bowl with the Seahawks with Clint Kubiak. So honestly, who did a better job, Clint Kubiak or Kevin O'Connell? You tell me. He had better weapons in Minnesota, Sam Darnold did. So I honestly think it's as make or break of a year for Kyler Murray as it is for Kevin O'Connell, in my opinion. So we're saying, can Kevin O'Connell resurrect Kyler Murray's career? I don't know. Can Kyler Murray save Kevin O'Connell's job? Because if this is a failure this year, does Kevin O'Connell get fired? Or do they blame Kyler Murray and say, well, it's not KOC's fault. He's the quarterback guru. Let's get him another quarterback and see what he can do with that guy, because it can't be his fault. JJ McCarthy just stinks. He was unsavable. Oh, Kyler Murray's just a bad leader, and he's not that good. And we thought it was 2021. Get us another quarterback, because Kevin O'Connell can't be the issue. So I think this is as make or break of a year for Kevin O'Connell as it is Kyler Murray. That's my opinion. Can he resurrect Kyler Murray's career? Of course he can, because we've seen him call a pretty damn good offense in years past, and they did eke their way to how many games did they win last year? 8. They finished 8-9, right?
Yep.
So the fact that they won a bunch of those games at the end of the last season, that is a testament to Kevin O'Connell being a pretty good head coach. But expectations are higher now this year. You're supposed to make the playoffs, and this division is stacked. And our friends at BetMGM have the Vikings as the worst team in the division, and that's how I see it as well. So what's the excuse if it doesn't work this year? How big of a setback is it if things don't work out with Kyler Murray? But Brad, I know you obviously think that KOC can resurrect Kyler Murray's career.
Yeah, I'm a total believer and a buyer. I think Kyler Murray is going to be a baller and a shot caller at times. I mean, he's going to be somewhat inconsistent. But when you have Justin Jefferson, man, who is easily a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, the guy that has a sparkly and shiny bling bling, and he wants to maybe add another chain to the neck. He is a guy they can just toss it in his general direction or high point it. He always finds his ass wide open across the middle of the field. Kyler Murray can deliver those passes with more confidence in my mind than JJ McCarthy. And he got Jordan Addison there. TJ Hawkinson as well. Aaron Jones, a very good pass catching running back. I like the weapons of this team, and I like the mind, the offensive genius of KOC. So it's not going to be KOC's fault. It's either going to be the injury imp wreaking havoc and dragging down Kyler Murray, or maybe he just royally sucks as well. But I'm not buying it. I think Kyler Murray will rise the occasion. He is going to turn a tidy profit for you fantasy managers out there, given his QB 19 ADP price tag at the current moment. I think he's going to be a borderline QB1, baby. I might be drunk in 12-team fantasy leagues. That's how high I'm on Kyler Murray in Minnesota. It's madness.